We're live here with Tris Neal from Team Schumacher, all the way from the other side of the world, hanging out with us. And we're taking the opportunity in this lunch break to have a bit of a chat. Firstly, Tris, welcome to Australia.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. So
Your first visit down under?
yeah, absolutely. Grew up watching the various sitcoms, Neighbours, Home and Away, and as a little boy, I wanted to come here. So it's finally at the age of 38 I get to come.
Neighbours and Home and Away, that is Australia at its absolute finest. That is a completely, genuinely real representation of Australian culture.
Yeah, the word's crikey is generally a stereotypical word that's for over here, but it's fantastic being here. The Australian people are very nice, very kind, very honest. You know, if they don't like you, they tell you.
Okay.
I haven't had that experience yet, but I'm enjoying being here. It's wonderful. The track's got like exotic wildlife around it compared to like in the UK. I've got pigeons, maybe the odd eagle. Well, no eagles, but you know, red kites and things like that. Whereas we're seeing in the morning, the parrots go for the daily move off, carring away. It's fantastic, and there's all sorts of different noises. And just down by the loos, there's a little path that takes you down. There's beautiful scenics on the inside with a river running through and a bridge, and it's like you take a girl there on a date. You know, it's so nice. Just fantastic facility that's here.
Bring a girl on a date to the World Championships and it is the most beautiful location. We actually had a drone up yesterday afternoon. It got attacked and chased by a flock of parrots in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you what, obviously you've come with some of the travel team from Schumacher. You're involved in engineering. So maybe we'll start with, tell us a little bit about your role within Schumacher, what it is that you bring to the team, what you're involved in.
Okay, so I'm responsible for looking after the off-road platforms, tyres. I support the team back at the factory in various different ways, checking drawings or various roles that you can have adopted over the years. But if you're okay at something, right, can you do this? And you try not to be good at things as the years go by because you realise you get drawn into doing it all the time. So as well as the design and looking after the cars, I look after the team. I try and make sure that their cars are working firstly. Are they durable? Are they holding together? That'd be for like the mid-range to lower level pack. Where your high-end guys, they still have some of those issues from time to time, the odd screw missing. The next thing is listen to their needs and wants. What is it doing on the track? But I need to spot that myself, so I have to have a good eye to see where are we lifting wheels, where aren't we digging into the track, how is it jumping, how is it landing, what's the forward drive like. So you've got many aspects there. And looking at the multiple things that you can change to achieve the same thing, and what compromise does that bring? Is that going to hurt the handling of the car somewhere else? Sometimes the drivers have a need and a want, and you look at the car and no, and it could just be a bit of them. Slow down. Let's turn your power down. Suddenly traction's gone up, because they're not wheel spinning. And that's one of the big things here. The other bit is the psyche. You've got to deal with their mental attitude on it, coaching them through. If they've had a bad run, arm on the shoulder or tell them to suck it up. I don't do the suck it up bit. I'm a bit too soft for that kind of thing, but I'm honest when I need to be. But I have got a good bunch around me, so my factory crew that I've got with me is Daniel, Michael, as well as Tom. Tom's a new addition to the team, so it's been nice to actually, it's the first time I've worked with him one-on-one whilst he's been with us, and he's been an absolute pleasure, if I'm honest, really nice. Daniel I've known since he was young. Michael as well has been with the team since he was 13, so I've known him for such a long time. So we're in a nice situation at the moment because we've had a day of practice. We've done two-wheel drive, done some learning, how the tyres are behaving, in what condition that they are versus the condition of the track. Are there shadows on the track? Are they not? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it first in the morning and it's a mud pit? So that's been really nice, and we've gathered a lot of knowledge in a short amount of time. Today, obviously, we're on four-wheel drive now, which has been pretty... It's an easier car to get it to go forwards than a two-wheel drive, but you still need to keep up with the other people. So, I've done a lot of talking there. I'll let you do another question.
I think there's about 5 questions in there that I wanted to kind of get in, but that's okay. There's a couple of things we want to come back to. Let me ask you now, because the last thing you talked about is the forward drive and getting it to work. So we have, obviously the story around the rumours doing the rounds here are that you are running a prototype platform this weekend. You told me yesterday a 4-belt drivetrain. I think that's kind of where we're at. But tell me a little bit about what you can.
5-belt train. The reality is people will guess what we're running, and they will see pictures of it running around the track and that, and make their own assumptions. So I don't need to add anything there in one way, but I also want to give you a decent interview. At the same time, when my bosses are watching, I don't want to get the sack. But the reality is we want to try and keep moving forward and look at what do we need to change and what do we need to do. And so we are running a prototype of some form, and it's in baby stages. I had enough sample parts to run 4 cars. So Brock's got one at the moment, and then we got some cars back at base that are my kind of reference cars. Does that bit fit? Let's go do a run. Does that bit break? Or does it survive? So we're on a big learning curve now, but at the same time there's a lot of knowledge out there that we already have. So geometry is geometry, you understand what it's doing, but how's that behaving with the nature of the car? Other things are moving around in ways that the other one wasn't, so then we don't necessarily have to have a link that's that length or a shock that's that firm or whatever. So we're in a position actually at the moment that we're quite happy because the cars are working. Tom's not too far behind. Michael and Daniel have at points been quite high. Daniel was doing well on that last one, didn't quite put the last 2 minutes together how we'd like to. There's little tweaks we could probably do on the car. It grabs a little bit too much on the front, the rear swings around, he has to catch it. Right, let's work on that. But at the end of the day, we don't want to get greedy with setup. We also know that actually that car's okay to go and fight for the win. So the biggest thing with any racer is to stop them going too far, because they're like, oh, I need steering, I need grip, I need this, I need that. I want it to stop fast, I want it to go quicker down the straight. All right. That classic holy grail of setup doesn't exist. You get the car kind of 80 to 90% there. The rest of it's on the driver to deal with it, and also to understand, do I need to ask for a bit more of this and that? Or do I need to stop there and just drive it and get used to it and just be quick for the day?
Tom definitely looked really good in that last one, and as you said, Daniel's been right near the top in forward all through time practice as well. Just want to ask you a little bit about your process, because every time I come, walk past the area, you're in deep conversation with the drivers. You've got notebooks out. You're kind of, really digging in. Tell me a little bit about the process that you go through, not only over this day, but then you've got some days here ahead as well. So let's talk a little bit about process, and then I'll ask you about some other drivers that might come later in the year.
Okay, so starting from let's say a race day format, Michael's very good for us in regards to, he's got his iPad, as he mentioned before in the interview, because I was here again. Every run he's ever done, he writes down the changes that he made. So if we've just done Q2, had a good run, then I do Q3, Q4, go backwards a bit. Right, where were we fastest? QT. Go back to that. Okay, how did the car feel in Q2 and has the track changed? Okay, let's do Q2, but we do this as well. And because Daniel works very closely with Michael on what he's doing, and Tom's kind of doing his own thing, but at the same time he's very close, we're able to track backwards and forward. So Michael's quite a pillar in that way, so we can do it, and I rely on his notes. Like, where were we on Q1? Where were we on Q2? What's changed since then? What were we doing on Friday? So that's during the whole time. There's every time it's, I need more steering, for example. There's a load of different positions on the car we can do things. The whole beauty of like an RC car, it's basically a bunch of stiffnesses that we can adjust, and they all work in these different ways when they move. As well as you've got various form of let's call them time machines, the dampers, things that control how quickly things can move. So you've got those factors, as well as the motor does that as well. You've got this thing that produces a certain form of inertia as it gets going. So you're working with all these things. So my point is through the day of picking, we just changed the roll bar. I also want to try this, and this, but not now. Let's try that on Monday or Tuesday whilst we're here, hoping the track is in good condition. The beauty of what we're doing now, because yes, we could just come on Monday and Tuesday and watch the event and go, that was fun. When you're racing against, for example, Marcus, he's on the same track at the same time as you. He's in the same environment, moisture level, environment of, the atmosphere of the building. So you can't beat that. And also being under that pressure, stopwatch on you fine, but you've got 9 cars behind you if you're leading. You've got everything to lose. You've got Scotty announcing it. You've got all these people watching. There's me cursing when you're making mistakes. So that's the best environment for races. So for Monday, we'll have a big list of things that I really want to try, and Michael would really want to try this piston, but it might not be very good on the bumps, and then Tom will be like, I want to do this, and same for Daniel. And also sleep in Monday morning would be good, I think.
That'll be pretty nice. You mentioned Brock there in that conversation, so I did just want to check in. I guess who else you're expecting to have with you here in September, October? Brock would be an obvious one.
Yeah, yeah.
But who are the other drivers you'll have?
I'd like to think I've got let's call it my Fantastic Four. That's going to be in there, my factory guys. I'm hoping I can get Ben Smith over as well. He's our top UK driver. At the moment, he's been doing really well. We've got some other top UK drivers as well. We've got Luke and Josh Holdsworth. Don't know if they're coming. And so basically, we've got a bunch in Europe as well. I don't know who's actually coming. I don't normally do a whip around and find out exactly, but a lot of the time, my immediate team, which would be my 4 factory drivers, I know what they're doing. Brock wasn't able to make it. He had I think, I don't obviously talk about his plans on here, but he basically has an event that he wanted to do for various reasons. We had a chat back at base, Robin and Muzz, who look after that side of things, they agreed you do that race. We're going to gather a lot of information now. Brock's got a reasonable amount of experience on dirt. Before we know, he might even come over and do some running. But the more drivers you have, the more, for me, I have to look after them. So the size that I have I'm very grateful for. And after that, you kind of don't want your high-level drivers. You want that next step down. Because the reality is you can't watch all the cars as well. If I've got all 4 guys in the same heat, I've got one pair of eyes that look at one thing. I can't split them off, and then they say, "Oh, did you see my car?" And that when this happened, I'm like, "No, I was watching the guy that was leading," because I want to try and make sure he definitely wins in the next one. But you try and make sure the other guys are doing well as well. Yeah.
So 2 questions out of that. One, I think earlier in the year there was an announcement that Ryan Mayfield will do some running for Schumacher this year.
True, yeah.
Will expect to see Ryan down here for the Worlds?
It would be nice to have him there.
Yeah.
I don't know what his commitments are with 8 scale. It would be a nice thing. But that's down to what he wants to do and everything. We haven't communicated too much since he's joined, but I know he's got a lot on with techno. So when he's ready, he'll get in contact. So if he comes, awesome. And he's obviously a fantastic, legendary name.
And 2-time world champion 2017 in China, the last time we were outdoors on some kind of dirt surface.
Yeah, and he had made one up to that point, and he doubled it on the weekend. I was there. It was pretty amazing, and it was a wild track because on the four-wheel drive especially, the wind was really knocking the cars around, and I don't know how he managed to do it, but he just kept that thing going straight over the jumps where the others were floating off when it was getting caught by the wind. He showed his experience on that event, and I was really impressed.
2 last questions to give you an idea of how much longer we can keep it chatting. I do want to just check in with you about the learnings from yesterday, and did you have having an opportunity to play with the platform a bit and explore some different kind of components on the car, and how you saw two-wheel drive unfold?
Yeah, so two-wheel drive started out okay at the beginning of the practice day on the Friday, and it slowly went downhill for Michael and Daniel, whereas the other two, we had Tom and Jaden, and they were okay. And then we went to sleep. Before we went to sleep, we did some work on the cars. And we had those 50 different conversations on what we could do. We ended up setting on going back to a couple of basics. What did we do at this track in Europe, and what did we do there? And maybe that's not right. And I always have my gut feelings on certain things of, I feel that's too soft, or you really need the link here. And we kind of found those compromise type chats where probably not going to be perfect, but it'd be better. And we threw it down in the morning. It was all right. And actually throughout the whole day, we could have made small bits of progress, and Michael was much happier because when it's going all right, he smiles, and when he doesn't smile so much. We wind him up about it a little bit. It's like, come on, Michael, smile, and I'll tickle him a little bit if I can. He doesn't like that. But we improved. The things that we learned is you learn about tyres. You learn again, it's got hot before you want to run these tyres, and because there's obviously, you could run every run, or you can run ones that get older, and they behave in certain ways. I don't want to release all the things that I've learned. That's why we're here, and you wouldn't learn that stuff just by hearing what they were doing. You've got to feel it. How many, what's the condition of the track? Is it cooled down this afternoon? Actually, maybe I want to try a set like this. Two-wheel drive was very difficult to begin with through practice, and I just thought, this is difficult because we've come here with let's call it a four-wheel drive platform that we're learning about. That was meant to be my problem, and it's actually been good. Whereas two-wheel drive, it kind of know where we are with it. But by the end, Michael was fighting. We made a change for the last leg, which didn't really help us, but it was for learning. So it's kind of like, this isn't the Worlds event. As much as it's nice to show us at the top spot, we still had Michael on the podium, which is awesome. Daniel was in the main, Tom was in the B. He did really well. So I kind of really enjoyed it. His event, went home. ate pizza, worked on 4-wheel drive, went to sleep, and now we're here.
There we are. I think so far I've heard designer, engineer, sports psychologist, team manager, logistics. You know, there's a whole Formula One team right here in
That's right.
your
I even
sense.
get them the food, so supermarket, shopping,
Catering.
tidy up the house. I'm cleaner. Complain at them when they're like making a mess, and like they started using the wine glasses because all the normal glasses were dirty. It's like, guys, you know, you could reuse your glass. I felt like a parent, you know, but they are all like 23 at their oldest age, and I'm 38, so I guess I am in that position. So now I just get on with it. So this morning I was cleaning the kitchen down and doing this and that. And there's actually some cats visiting the house. I went to the shop yesterday. I got cat food and biscuits, a bowl of water out, and they've been enjoying that. So yeah, the role isn't just coming in as a race engineer. Like my title is principal engineer at Schumacher. But really, if it was to write down what are your roles, it is long. And a lot of it is I put on myself. You know, I want to coach them through it. I want to talk about that corner. They go a little bit too fast and record certain bits because for me, it's my dream for us to become world champions and European champions and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot of passion.
That is a wonderful place for us to stop. The dream to become world champions, the hard work that gets you there. Thank you so much for a rich conversation.
I appreciate
You
it.
haven't even had the chance to debrief after that last round of qualifying, so we better give you the chance to go and sit with the guys.
Anyway, so they're probably like, where is he?
All the best for this afternoon and this week. Lots of learning to do, and we'll see you later in the year.
Thank you very much.
That's Tris Neal from Team Schumacher. Wonderful to have them here at the Worlds Warmup. So much learning going on that new platform, but even in tour dive right across the weekend. We're going to take a short break now and then come back with round 5 of qualifying ahead of our mains later on this afternoon. Thanks for sticking with us here with RC Race Media at Hills Offroad RC for the World Champs warm-up event.